Joey, only the Caribou weather dude. It's been snowing real hard. It's Wednesday, the 22nd of December. Snowfall continues here in Wells, British Columbia. Must have had about a foot come down already. And I am burned in thanks to the big grader coming by. Just looking ahead for the next 2 weeks. We are entering that cold snap this weekend. It's going to come, Saturday, the 25th of December, Christmas Day, and going to stick around. We look at its 14-day forecast. Not really impressive. We see lots of 28s, lots of 30s across the board. It's not going to go away, really. We're looking the next 2 weeks. Maybe a touch warm up after that first brutal week, but expect cold, cold, cold. We see that jet stream is riding down the west coast, out and around and back inside, and all that low pressure is stuck between that line of jet stream and us. The big story today, snowfall continues in British Columbia. Snowfall, 100-mile house now. You were out of the list, but now you are in it. BC Peace River, boundary, winter storm warning there. Caribou, snowfall. Central Coast, snowfall. Chilcotin, snowfall. Winter storm for East Columbia. Snowfall for Elk Valley, Fraser Canyon. Winter storm also for the mountain passes near there. Howe Sound, winter storm, as well as Kinbasket. Snowfall warning for Tetwan, Cass to the Alberta border. Kootenay Lakes, winter storm warning. Snowfall warning for McGregor. Winter storm warning for Nicola and North Columbia. Snowfall warning for Prince George. Winter storm warning for Shoe Shop and Similkameen. Snowfall warning for Stewart and Nechako. Winter storm for West Columbia, West Kootenay, Whistler, and also snowfall warning for the Yellowhead Highway. We know it's snowing. All this extra snowfall, though, raises the risk of avalanches. We see finally in the south part of Kootenay there for the first time. High readings for Wednesday. High for Thursday at Alpine tree line and below tree line. Maybe it'll settle down a little bit by Friday. Very dangerous in the Alpine, especially right now. Another winter storm with strong winds and heavy snowfall will build fresh and reactive snow slabs through that forecast region. Lizard Flathead is much the same. High Wednesday in the Alpine, high, Alpine tree line, below tree line for Thursday. Heavy snowfall will build fresh and reactive snow slabs by Wednesday afternoon and Thursday. This is also true for the Yukon. Avoid wind-loaded terrain which will appear deep and styrofoam-like. Small avalanches in motion may be able to trigger large avalanches. Limit exposure to overhead avalanche terrain. And of course the south coast, all bad. Through the central part of interior, considerable. All those mountain ranges such as the Caribou. Reactive wind slabs are the main concern there. Seek out sheltered terrain, and it's extreme down the south coast, at least for today. It might start settling down tomorrow. Hopefully this cold weather will help. Hopefully the weight of all the snow and the cold will help fuse these layers together and will lessen the avalanche risk as days go on. A major storm will lead to widespread avalanche potential in the sea to sky corridor. A major storm will lead to a widespread avalanche cycle in the new snow with the potential to step down and trigger deeper buried weak layers. Avoid avalanche terrain in the sea to sky highway area, as well as South Coast inland, South Coast, Vancouver Island forecast regions. Avalanche Canada synopsis. The atmosphere over South Coast ranges in Vancouver Island sorts itself out this morning as strong mountaintop winds help mix the warmer air down to the surface, thereby eroding any remaining above the freezing layer. Freezing levels will start the day near 1,400 meters and slowly drop to 900 meters by this evening. Meanwhile, the snow continues today over much of the southern interior ranges from the North Rockies south to the U.S. border. The strong southwesterly mountaintop flow associated means lots of heavy snow in the flavored slopes. In particular, Fernie is setting up to get a lot of snow tonight through Thursday. Looking into the second half of the week and Christmas weekend, Arctic air returns on Thursday and into Friday with bitterly cold and drier conditions prevailing across most of the province as we head into the Christmas weekend. The only exception will be over the southern areas of the province, where a trough will spread some snow, the light and fluffy kind, to the southern coastal interior ranges this weekend. Wednesday, 4 o'clock on Avalanche Canada's radar. Heaviest precipitation all along the Coast Mountains and Vancouver Island. A little bit in the Olympic Mountains. That precipitation moves south into the United States. We see Thursday a general clearing trend in northern British Columbia where that cold air is starting to come in. We see the polar vortex riding. And it's looking like it's going to be cold. Maybe we'll see some more snow. Maybe. The overall pattern continues with the entire province now firmly in the grips of the upper trough. With the strong northerly flow aloft, Arctic air will invade all of British Columbia. Stepping into Thursday night and Friday, you see ripples down from this northerly flow develop into a stronger trough that sits over the BC south coast. This will mean snow for the south coast as well as the southern interior ranges. Otherwise, bitterly cold Arctic air will continue for the remainder of the province. Having a look at earth.nullschool.net, have a look at where that jet stream may be. Shows a pretty strong at 250 hectopascals. How that Arctic air has got a nice sort of arrow just to push right down. I mean, it's kind of hard to tell. That purple being the strong wind flow from the jet stream. Just how cold is it going to get when this cold snap comes? We're looking Sunday the 26th, Boxing Day. We're already seeing Fort Nelson minus 40, Fort St. John minus 35, Prince George minus 33. A little bit warmer over in the prairies. Calgary minus 30. Maybe not that much warmer. Kindersley, minus 25. Swift Current, minus 25. On the GFS model, says a little bit colder for the BC interior. Prince George, minus 36. Quesnel, minus 36. Kamloops, minus 23. Blue River, 25. Revelstoke, minus 19. Kelowna, minus 22. Penticton, minus 22. Vernon, 21. Nasco, minus 37. Vanderhoof, 36 below. Wells, minus 37. Keithley Creek, minus 35. Horsefly, 33 below. Williams Lake, 33 below. Hansville, minus 37. Clearwater, minus 27. Blue River, minus 27. Seymour Arm, minus 20. Barrier, 24 below. Lake Louise, minus 28. Golden, minus 20. A little bit of that warm area. Yeah, warm. Minus 16 at Nakusp. Minus 17 at Farquhar. Minus 13 in Caslow. Minus 17 in Kimberley. Minus 17 Cranbrook. Minus 11 Nelson. Though that's the best part of the province right there. Minus 10 Castlegar. Now you know why you live in Castlegar. What is the polar vortex? Here we have an image. Polar vortex. Cold and air, low pressure near the pole. The jet stream and cold air surge south in the United States. This is from weather.gov. The American government says the polar vortex is a large area of low pressure and cold air surrounding both of the Earth's poles. It always exists near the poles, but weakens in summer and strengthens in winter. The term vortex refers to the counterclockwise flow of air that helps keep the colder air near the poles. Many times during the winter in the northern hemisphere, the polar vortex will expand, sending cold air southward with the jet stream. This occurs fairly regularly during the wintertime and is often associated with large outbreaks of Arctic air in the United States. The one that occurred January 2014 is similar to many other cold outbreaks that have occurred in the past, including several notable colder outbreaks in 1977, 82, 1985, and 1989. There are several things the polar vortex is not. Polar vortexes are not something new. The term polar vortex has only recently been popularized, bringing attention to a weather feature that has always been present. It is also not a feature that exists at the Earth's surface. Weather forecasts examine the polar vortex by looking at conditions tens of thousands of feet up in the atmosphere. However, when we feel extremely cold air from the Arctic regions at Earth's surface, it is sometimes associated with the polar vortex. This is not confined to the United States or Canada. Portions of Europe and Asia also experience cold surges connected to the polar vortex. By itself, the only danger to humans is the magnitude of how cold temperatures will get when the polar vortex expands, sending Arctic air southward into areas that are not typically that cold. The Canadian Encyclopedia says the polar vortex is a wind pattern surrounding the Earth's poles. Both North and South Pole have these polar vortices spinning around them. In both cases, the rotation is generally cyclonic, counterclockwise around the North Pole and clockwise around the South Pole. While polar vortices exist year-round, they are strongest during each pole's winter. Canadians tend to experience the effects of the North Pole's polar vortex towards the end of winter. At this time, the polar vortex begins to weaken, and cold polar air travels further south. Polar vortices are atmospheric phenomena which occur on other planets too, such as Mars, Venus, and Saturn. We've seen this diagram for the UCAR, Center for Science Education, Arctic polar vortex at the top with a little circle going around, low atmosphere pressure, counterclockwise rotation. Then the polar jet stream, meaning it's meandering back and forth when polar vortex is weak. Then you have the cold Arctic air dipping into mid-latitudes as the jet stream meanders. Strangely enough, the BBC reports findings that climate change, Arctic warming, is linked to colder winters. The scientists found that heating in the region ultimately disturbed the circular pattern of winds known as the polar vortex. This allowed colder winter weather to flow down to the U.S., notably in the Texas cold wave in last February. The authors of the report say that warming will see more cold winters in some locations. Over the past 4 decades, satellite records have shown how increasing global temperatures have had a profound effect on the Arctic. And scientists have been long concerned about the implications of this amplification of global change for the rest of the planet. This new study indicated that the warming in the Arctic is having a significant impact on winter weather, both in North America and East Asia. The researchers detail a complex meteorological chain that connects this warmer region to a rotating pattern of cold air known as the polar vortex. The authors show that the melting of ice in the Barents and Kara seas leads to increased snowfall over Siberia and a transfer of excess energy that impacts the swirling winds in the stratosphere above the North Pole. The heat ultimately causes a stretching of the vortex, which then enables extremely cold weather to flow down to the United States. There has been an increase in these stretching events since satellites began observations in 1979. Dr. Judah Cohen, who's a professor at the Massachusetts Institute for Technology, MIT, and a director at the Atmospheric Environmental Research Weather Risk Management Company, says, "We're arguing that melting sea ice across northwest Eurasia, coupled with increased snowfalls across Siberia, is leading to a strengthening of the temperature difference from west to east across the Eurasian continent. We know that when temperature differences increase, that leads to more disruptions of the polar vortex. And when it's weakened, that leads to more extreme weather, such as the Texas cold wave last February 2021. Looking at the bigger picture, the research team believes that their findings will help people understand that global warming is complex and perhaps dispel the idea that cold winters means climate change isn't happening." It's like the picture of the guy on the Titanic. He's at the bow at the top, and he says, "No, we're not sinking. I'm 200 feet in the air." Dr. Chaim Garfinkel from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem says, "There has been a long-standing apparent contradiction between the warmer temperatures globally, however, an apparent increase in cold extremes for the United States and northern Eurasia, and this study helps to resolve this contradiction. In the past, these cold extremes over the US and Russia have been used to justify not reducing carbon, but there's no longer any excuse to not start reducing emissions right away." I'm Joey Only, the Caribou Weather Dude. Stay warm out there, stay safe. Extended cold, it's not enjoyable. It is what it is. We'll get through it. We always somehow do. Freezing to death is one of the big killers of people in Canada. You're worried about bears? Be worried about hypothermia. It's very dangerous and it's real and it's easy to die from. Stay warm. Stay warm. All right, subscribe to my channel. Hit like, hit share, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye now.